Jan only stopped running when he reached 7 Dials. The sound of his feet on the pavement was the drumbeat that finally calmed him down. Gasping for breath, he leant against the corner of a building, grateful for the thick fog, and laughed out loud at his own stupidity. Well, he thought bitterly, I can't go back there again. He felt certain that the Laxtons would be mighty pleased to be rid of him. Mrs. Laxton had called him a gypsy. He was a gypsy. As the cold found its way into his bones, it dawned on him exactly how alone he was. He shook his head. He'd been a complete fool. What did he have? Nothing. Just the clothes he stood up in. He looked down at his coat. In the morning, he would pawn it. That should give him some money, at least enough for a day or so. For the time being, he would just have to keep on walking. He made his way towards Covent Garden, where audiences were spilling out of the theatres. Maybe he should try and find work on the stage, though he wondered quite what he had to offer. The ability to throw his voice was surely not enough, not now that he couldn't read minds. That gift belonged to another time. The bells of St. Martin's were chiming 11 o'clock as he walked away from the piazza. It was going to be a long, cold night. On the last stroke he heard someone call out for help. Through the fog, he could make out 2 men, who seemed to have a third man held hostage against the wall. Jan moved quickly out of sight. From what he could see, the man nearest him looked like a fish-eyed monster, his hand as wide as a shovel covering the hostage's mouth, while the other, a rat-like creature, egged him on.
"What have we got here, Sam?"
said the fish-eyed monster.
"A gentleman in a fine coat, Joe,"
leered the rat-like creature,
"with shiny buckles on his shoes." "Please, my dear commodious sirs," cried the gentleman, "I am but a poor thespian, and this is my humble costume."
The actor let out a muffled moan.
"I beg thee, let not my night's candle be so rudely snuffed out. I implore you, gallant gentlemen, to spare me."
Sam was now rifling through his pockets.
"Oh, nothing," he said despairingly. "He ain't got nothing, not even a penny."
"Must be a bleeding actor, then."
"My dear sir, my name is Mr. Trippin of Drury Lane. You aren't going to kill the famous Touchstone the Clown, are you? Think what the papers will say."
Joe burst out laughing.
"Nothing,"
he said. He put his hand to his face and pulled out his glass eye.
"Like to hold it, would ya?"
He was about to put the glass eye back when he heard a young girl's voice calling his name.
"Did you hear that?"
said Joe.
"She was calling me."
Then the sweet voice called again. They had no idea what she was saying, except that this time it was Sam who recognized his name.
"How about that? She's calling me, too. She sounds French, she does."
Jan called out in French. "Mr. Trippin, can you understand what I'm saying?"
"Yes,"
mumbled the actor. "Don't be afraid. Just tell them I am keen to meet them. When the moment's right, try and get free. I will say, allez. When you hear that, move."
"What's she saying?"
said Sam in a state of great excitement.
"My French is a little rusty, but surprising as it seems, she sounds mighty keen to meet you, gentlemen," said the actor.
"We're in luck,"
said Joe.
"I tell you, she's mine. I heard her first,"
said Sam. His friend spat on his glass eye and polished it on his sleeve.
"Give me a chance to get my looks back in, and then when she sees us, she can take our pick."
At that moment, apparently out of nowhere, Jan appeared. The 2 rogues were so startled that Jan was able to snatch Joe's looks from him before disappearing into the fog.
"Hey, Give that back unless you want me to wring your wretched little neck, cried Joe.
The girl suddenly spoke to the actor again. When I throw the glass eye, you're to make a run for it.
What's she saying now?
Asked Sam.
She's asking what keeps you so long,
Said the actor, hardly believing that the gods could have been so kind as to send this angel. At that moment, Jan shouted, "Allez!" and threw the glass eye up into the air. Joe and Sam made to catch it as Mr. Trippin, free of their clutches, ran for his life, swiftly followed by Jan. Once back in the main piazza, they both stopped, the actor gasping for breath.
My dear young sir, I cannot thank you enough. May I ask the name of my saviour?
Jan Margosa.
I have to report,
Mr. Trippin carried on, standing up,
that I felt my dying moment upon life's tentative stage had come.
Do you always use so many words? Asked Jan, smiling.
They are like bonbons for the tongue, my young friend.
He took out his hanky and mopped his brow.
Lucky, weren't we, about the young girl being there? I can't imagine what she saw in those two rogues, but I can assure you that the fairer sex is one of life's mysteries.
Didn't you realise? Said Jan. He began to laugh. That was me, pretending to be a woman.
No! That is incredible,
said Mr. Trippin.
Why, my dear sir, I had no idea I was talking to a fellow thespian. Where did you learn to speak such excellent French?
In France, said Jan.
You are French?
Said Mr. Trippin, surprised. Jan nodded.
And English is not, I take it, your native language?
Oh, no. I've just started to exercise my tongue with it, said Jan with a chuckle.
A natural. A born natural.
Oh, thank you, sir, said Jan. I wish you a safe journey home. Good night.
Wait, my dear young friend, not so fast. Mrs. Trippin would never pardon me if I didn't bring my saviour home for supper.
At this hour? Asked Jan.
Why, this is the hour, sir, when the Trippins gather after the curtain has fallen on the day, to mull over an actor's life, to reminisce of days gone by, helped in no small part by a good port wine. My wife, having danced the Fairy Queen tonight at Sadler's Wells, will, I believe, have a chicken simmering in its juices on the fire, the bottle ruby red, breathing in the air.
Up to that moment, Jan had forgotten quite how hungry he was. The thought of the chicken simmering away was enough to make him say yes. They walked towards the Strand together. Mr. Trippin looked as pleased as Punch with himself, and did not stop singing.
Hey-ho, the wind and the rain, for the rain it raineth every day.
All the way home.